Hello everybody, it's Rachel from Moments to Milestones, and I'm here today to put together our latest paper pad card kit. There's 7 cards in this kit to create, and you'll get the remainder of the paper pad. We used a 6x8 paper pad from Simple Stories. You'll get the written instructions, pictures, and you can follow along here. So we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so our first card we're going to do is called Thanks So Much. These are our pieces. What we're going to do is we're going to start with these 2 strips and put them on either side of the white card base. Okay, and we have this rainbow piece here, and this is going to go behind, so you can play around with what colors you want showing. Okay, so I'm just going to put some adhesive in a couple spots and then lay that over where I want it. Okay. And then you have these 2 thin black strips. They kind of have a polka dot pattern on one side and plain black on the other. We're going to use the plain black side. So what I'm going to do is run some glue, just a small bead, and I want about 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch showing. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Alright, so you're going to end up with that. And if you choose, you can pop that up. I did on this one, but then I also popped up the sentiment. So for this one, I'm just going to glue it straight down. And it just gets centered. Okay. And then this butterfly is going to go right back in that little opening. I'll just pop that into there. All right. And then we have this Thanks So Much and the teal strip. That's going to go right in the center. And we're going to pop that up right underneath. Centered under there, and that card's complete. Next we have Hope You're Okay, and we have a little bit of coloring to do on this one. So I use Spectrum Noir alcohol markers. You're free to use whatever coloring medium you want, but we have these flowers here, and I just felt that they needed to be deep, bold colors to match the colors of the paper, so I went with the markers. If you're interested, these are the greens that I used. And I just used the one red. Some colors I shaded a little bit, some I did not. This is the pink. And then I used this one, I believe, and this one for the blue. Some, you could go either way on those. Can you see them? There we are. Okay, so let you watch me color one and then we'll skip forward. So these are the berries. This is the darker, this is the JG4. It's a little bit deeper. The other one's a little bit lighter if you wanted to shade, but really just getting the color down will be enough. The only places I did any kind of shading is with the green. So I'm gonna go in, lay down the light green. Okay. And then I'm gonna go in with a darker green, the DJ or DG, and I'm just gonna, where that is and down there, and then I will blend it together. Just using circle motions to pull that color out. Okay. And then for the pink, I'm just going to use the CR3. I'm just going to all right, and I followed that. The only other thing would be this red color I'm going to use on these flowers. And there are 2 of these, and I'm going to color them the same way. And all these little tulips will be pink. And then the only other, and then 1 of these is red and 1 is blue. But you're really free to be creative however you want to be on this card. So I will finish up coloring and we'll come back. All right, we have everything colored. I'm gonna set that off to the side. We're gonna put our card together. So the first thing we're gonna do is put down the yellow polka dot. And that's gonna go centered, so you have the slightest white border. That will help pull in the white border on the flowers. And then we have this rainbow stripe, so I'm gonna cut a banner into one end. Oops. And we will glue that down in the center of the card, lined up with the yellow. All right, next is going to be the Hope You're Okay sentiment square. I'm just going to set that right on in the center over that, maybe a 1/2 inch or so, maybe a little bit more. And then this is going to go over the top. Now I did pop mine up, so I'm going to get some foam strips. All right, I got my backing peeled off, and now I'm just going to lay that right over that square. All right, and lastly, we're gonna just layer up our flowers. So I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on the back of these, or a little bit of this dry adhesive, get them placed, and then I can tuck in the foam as needed. That way, when I get them where I want them, they'll kind of stay put. So if I'm following this one here, I'm going to use this with the 1 tulip. It's going to go there, and then we're going to have 1 of them in there. Okay? And then this one is going to come in here, and then we're going to put 1 of these coming out this way, 1 kind of pointing down here. I tried to cover up the frame if I could. That was kind of my reasoning. You can trim them if you need to. And then this one I'm gonna tuck behind there. And then that flower is gonna sit there. So now I can go in. These little scraps I had from my frame work good, so I'm going to peel off the adhesive. I'm just going to show you this on this one. Now it's sticky on both sides. I'm just going to come in, and there it is. It's kind of easier than trying to guess where you might want it. come in here like that, and that'll keep them popped up. So I finish that out on the rest of the card, and then that card is finished. This next card, happy, happy, happy birthday to you. Let's open this one up. There are some little bitty star pieces in here you don't want to lose. There should be 4 of these little, they're teal on one side, green on the other. Make sure you don't lose those when you're opening. I'm going to shove all these little pieces up here out of the way while we work on the... Now for this card, you can tell here, I ink the edges of everything to kind of give it a distressed look. On this one, I'm not going to, so you can see the difference, and I'll let you decide. If you should decide you want to, we used Vintage Photo Distress ink. But for the sake of the video, I'm just going to go ahead and put it together. And you'll see that you get 2 different looks. Then you have this red polka dot. It's going to go along the bottom. This, the only thing I like to do is kind of ruffle these up a little bit, like you actually ripped it out of a notebook. Adhesive on the back, and this piece is going to line up with the bottom of the card about 1/4 inch over from the edge. And then our tag, all of this is straight down. It's going to be up a little bit from the bottom and then just have that border there, so like that. And now we have this happy birthday to you. It's cut off over here, so we're gonna get it where we want it. I put this up on foam, so I am going to pop that up. Not all the way, because I'm going to trim some of that off. So what I'm going to do is line that up with the top of that scallop slightly overhanging. Okay, and then this piece is going to go right here, kind of where that paper meets, and then we'll trim off any excess. So use some wet glue on that. And the birthday to you is kind of centered on the tag, so you can use that as your guide for where you want it. Okay, just flip that over and trim off the excess. Okay, so there's that. You should have 3 happy, happy, happies. And now we're going to just space those out on the tag. So get them about where you think they're evenly spaced, and then we're going to glue those down. All right, so those are on there. And now I'm going to finish off with the stars and the reinforcement circle. So I'm actually going to put some glue on that. It goes around the hole on your tag. And then you should have this long piece of it's crochet thread. I'm going to cut it in half. And you could actually do this before you put the tag on, but I didn't glue it down real hard. So I'm going to fold it in half, both those pieces, poke it through the front, and then I'll grab those and pull through. And trim however you want to. So there's that, and I'm going to finish with the stars. So I want the, I've got 2 up here. Got 1 on the strip and 1 down here in the corner. Okay, and then the 2 larger ones, I do have those up on foam. Flip those over, put foam on the back. up here and the red one down here. And that completes that card. All right, next we have Thinking of You. And again, I inked this card. I'm not going to ink this one so you can see the difference and make a choice for you if you like that vintage look. And if you don't, that's fine too. I didn't put a lot. I lightly inked the edges. I mean, you could really really distress it by really putting on heavy ink, so it's up to you. Now with this floral, there kind of is an upside down. You can see the leaves are at the bottom, so you might want to be mindful of that, but this strip is going to go over here on the left side. And then we have this Thinking of You, this 3x4 cut apart, and you have this yellow strip. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to pop up the frame like that. So get glue on those. All right, so put this over here like that. And if you need to tuck it, you can, but you probably shouldn't need to. You should have room for it to be just like that. Got my backing pulled off, and I'm going to stick the frame on, making sure a little bit of that yellow scallop is showing. All right. I'm going to shape these 3 little flowers real quickly. I'm going to flip them over onto my mat and just kind of pounce them in. So you can kind of do the push and pull, or you can just pounce. Either one works. And then I'm going to flip them over and press into the center. And those are ready to go. And what I did is place them into this arrangement. So I'm going to put one up here on top of that, and then I have one here and there. I'll just go ahead and press them into the glue. And then I have these little rhinestones. You could use prills here too, or glitter, or leave them as is. I'm going to put some rhinestones in the center. You'll have those in your kit. All right, and our finishing touch is going to be this butterfly. So you have this cream scrap and the butterfly. So what I'm going to do is put some glue on the back of my butterfly, and I'm going to glue it onto this cream colored paper so that I can see cream in all the holes. And I'm going to glue it to the edge so I don't have to cut all the way around. Then what I'm going to do is take my scissors, and I'm kind of tucking my scissors behind that butterfly and making the trim. And now we don't have a butterfly with just holes in it, and we can stick him right on here. So I'm just gonna take a little foam, I'm gonna just tuck it right in there, and then some wet glue on there. Whoops. And there we go. That card is complete. The next card is Sending You Hugs and Prayers. And so this card is going to have a little bit of fussy cutting. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot of it. So this is your kit, and then you have this big is from one of the papers in your pad, and we're going to cut around it. And you'll notice we're going to kind of turn to the side. So over here where these butterflies are overlapping, I wouldn't even worry about that, okay? Because we're not gonna use it anyway, so don't try to fussy cut all that. And then you can notice down here we have one of these small tulip-like flowers. That is actually this flower here. So I'm gonna cut that one away right here where that leaf comes in. I'm gonna cut that away and then fussy cut around the rest. And like even here, you don't need any of this. You'll notice you're just getting a little bit of that leaf. So try to save you a little bit. And you can get as detailed as you want, but I'm gonna go ahead and fussy cut this and we'll come back. So I've got my pieces fussy cut. So you notice I didn't even touch that area in there. And then there's my little flower that came off from there. So what I'm gonna do first is take this rainbow piece of paper and I'm gonna get my flower image where I think I want it, and this one as well. All right, so I'm going to, I'll use some, let's see, some wet glue. Okay. And I want it about right there. Okay. And then this one. Have it coming in right there. All right. And we're going to flip it over and trim that off. Okay. So there's that piece. And now we can put the rest of our card together. So we're gonna start with, actually first, before we do that, we're gonna go ahead and put that black trim on there. So that'd be the glue. And you can make it as thin or thick as you want. I'm gonna go about right there. Go ahead and again, this has the polka dots on back. It is up to you what you want to do. I went with the solid here. Put that on my card base. Okay. Then I'm going to put down the black and white floral. And this one also has kind of a right side. Okay. And then this is going to have that black border around. So we want to make sure it's even. The sides and the top and bottom, and then this piece is going to go right in there like that. All right. And the last thing we have is our sentiment, sending you hugs and prayers, and I do have it trimmed off at the end. So I'm going to put that up on foam. About right where I want it. I'll start the foam. Oh, those are too thick. Let's do the little ones. All right, we're gonna get that where I want it. And then I'll trim off the excess. And that card is finished. All right, here we have Home Sweet Home. Many congrats to you. Stick that over here. And first thing we're going to do is put down this teal stitched paper with the sentiment at the bottom. All right. And then you should have this scalloped cream strip. So what I'm going to do is actually gonna put a thin strip of glue on there, and I'm gonna put this down first, and I want it just above that many congrats to you. Okay, and then we're gonna trim off the excess. All right, and then before we put this piece on, because that piece is gonna go over, I have a very thin strip of cream up there. So if you want that, I have a thin strip of cream, and we're gonna put a bead of glue, just the tiniest bit to really help that paper pop off that blue. And so it's gonna look like that. Go ahead and glue that down. All right, right, and then you have this thin strip of wood paper. It's going to go right at the bottom of that red floral print. Okay. And now we have these two items left. So we're going to glue the Home Sweet Home onto the cream scallop circle. All right, and then this piece is it's gonna come off a little bit. Okay, you're gonna glue it on hanging off, and then we're gonna trim off the excess. But I have mine up on foam. Is that right where I want it? And then the last thing we're going to do is you have this red heart, and we are going to pop it up right over that red heart that's on the home already. And in my example, I covered it with a wink of Stella or a Nouveau glitter pen, and then I went over it with glossy accents. So if you like that effect, you can do that. If not, it's still sweet card without it. So that card is finished as well. On to our very last card of the kit. So this one is Hello, You've Been on My Mind. This one will go together real quick too. So again, I lightly ink the edges with Vintage Photo. That's a preference if you want to do that. If you don't, we'll just, you can see what the difference here, because I'm not going to on this card. So that is going to give you the thinnest black border. And then that black actually is going to go right down onto the card base. And then you have this wood grain paper, and it's going to go at the bottom. We're going to line that up with a stripe paper. Okay. And now we have this 3x4 cut apart. It's going to go right onto that black mat. And it's going to go in the center, but I kind of use this line as a guide so that it kind of meets where that same line is in the heart. Now you could pop this up if you want. I did not. I did pop up the You've Been on My Mind, so that's how I'm going to do this one. Alright, so center that on there. And you have this super thin strip of the stripes. I just thought we'd bring those stripes back down. And it just is going to go about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom, and it's going to hang off. So, tiniest row of glue. Just like that. Trim off the excess. And then the You've Been on My Mind is up on foam. And it's going to sit right on top. That kind of gives that some place to land. Actually, I'm going to scoot it over a little bit more. I actually think it might be too long. I'm going to trim just a little. There we go. Happy with that. And then it says, Hello, You've Been on My Mind. So you have 2 Hello die cuts out of black. We're going to layer those up. Layer that black one on top. and we're gonna finish by adding this little red heart right over the seam, right like that. And just like in the last card, I covered that heart with a glitter pen. And Wink of Stella. That really makes it pop out. Or not Wink of Stella, what's it called? Glossy accents. So I will go ahead and put some on there. It didn't take too long to dry, and then that card is finished. So thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this card kit. And we'll see you next time.